Hello, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are, and welcome to American National Government. I wanted to take the opportunity to give a especially warm welcome to all the students who have chosen to take this summer course. For many of you, this might be your first online course or maybe even your first college course, and I want to take a moment to introduce myself and introduce the course before you get into the nitty-gritty business of taking tests and writing discussion posts and so on and so forth. So first, let me introduce myself. My name is John Phillips. I am an assistant professor here at Austin Peay. Prior to that, I was a visiting professor at Duke University, at the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, and the University of Arizona. I received my PhD in political science from Brown University in 2010, and my main areas of research are in political economy, particularly the institutions surrounding the development of natural resources like oil and gas, and I also have a strong interest in the teaching of political science. So I'm American, but I grew up overseas, and when I look at American government, I look at it from an outsider's perspective. And that can be actually a useful thing because as a professor, I can give you a sense of how American government is both typical in some ways and then atypical as well in the world. And that's something the professors who are born here and exclusively study American politics sometimes can't communicate that well with their students. Let me talk a little bit about how I'm going to approach this class. This approach is not the only way to study American government, but it's one that gives you, I think, the most tools to really analyze and think about what's going on and cut through some of the nonsense that you regularly hear in the media or on Facebook and social media. The approach I'm going to take, and it's the one that your textbook takes, is sometimes called an institutional approach. It means that we will be trying to understand how sets of rules created by the Constitution, but then also modified by legislation over time, impact the way our politics have been conducted for the past 200 plus years. You might have come into this class thinking that we're going to be talking a lot about the people in politics. President Trump, maybe, Speakers Ryan, McConnell, and maybe other political figures you've heard of and who regularly get news coverage, like maybe Bernie Sanders, Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, and maybe Maxine Waters if you've really tuned into these things. The reality of it is, though, is that I'm almost never going to mention specific individuals in this class. At most, I will talk about the offices they occupy and maybe talk about individual behavior to the extent that it either confirms or goes against some of the ideas and principles that I'm going to introduce in this class. But why not talk about individual personalities? Well, the way I look at it is that politics is kind of like a play. If you want to understand a play like Hamlet or Midsummer Night's Dream, you're going to make very limited headway by analyzing the qualities of the specific actors who play Hamlet or Titania. These actors have some freedom to play their parts as they wish, but they're stuck with a script and a plot. And the best actor in the world is not going to turn wretched dialogue and nonsense plots into an enjoyable experience for the spectators. And even pretty mediocre actors will be able to make an audience enjoy a good script. So when we think about American politics, we should think of it mostly in terms of a script. There are written rules about how the various parts of the system work. And there are also pressures that influence all the players to behave in certain ways. Certainly, the play's important characters, which are akin to the offices of American government, like the president or the Speaker of the House, they're worth studying some. But the specific actors would not be the focus of your inquiry if you were studying the play. Now, to be sure, if you wanted to understand something about a very specific production of Hamlet, like John Gielgud's 1936 Broadway production, you would need to talk a lot about the specific actors playing each of the characters. And in particular productions, actors sometimes go off script, and it's really interesting to study those occurrences and why they happen, like when Benedict Cumberbatch took time out of his Hamlet performance in 2015 to make a speech in support of refugees. But by and large, if you want a solid understanding of a play, you don't spend a lot of time thinking about the actors. And if you want a solid understanding of how American government works, you don't spend a lot of time talking about Trump or Pelosi or Bernie Sanders. Instead, in this class, you're going to be thinking about the powers of various offices, the interplay between different branches of government, and the power struggles within any given branch of government. More specifically, I would like you to start thinking about politics not from the point of view of a participant as a Republican or Democrat, as a conservative or liberal, or for that matter, as a member of the working class or a capitalist, but instead as a scholar or even an engineer, someone who's really trying to understand how the system works, but isn't principally interested in who wins or who loses or what specific policies are to be enacted. In fact, it's only if you understand the system well enough that you can really get a sense of how the policies that are enacted are likely to play out. One of the worst fallacies to make when thinking about politics is to assume that the intentions behind a particular policy matter a whole lot with respect to what sorts of outcomes we're likely to see. Now, with respect to the course, this course in particular, I've laid out a number of documents that explain course policies and how the course will unfold, so I'm not going to discuss that too much here. Only to say that you've got a lot of flexibility in how you accomplish your work in the coming 4.5 weeks or so. This course is pretty intense. It's normally the amount of work students would do in a 16-week semester. My guiding philosophy in the class is going to be to make sure that to pass the class, students must demonstrate competency over a minimum number of subjects. To get an A, a student has to demonstrate competence in a lot of subjects. In all cases, I am not going to be rewarding mediocre performance with partial credit. But to make up for that, as a rule, you can retake or keep working on assignments nearly as often as you like so that you can achieve the required performance standards. Now, throughout the course, I've included video lectures like this one, lecture slides, those that you might get if you were taking the class on campus. These are all required materials, and they are set up not to overlap with the reading materials, but to complement those readings and to help you with your discussions and with your final exam. There are some extra or optional readings that you should do if you are a political science major, but that I'm not requiring otherwise, and I won't be testing you on. But if you're thinking about becoming a political science major, or maybe you're just interested in that particular subject matter that week, I highly encourage you to do those readings. You'll probably get a lot out of it. I've also thrown in the slides and the learning objectives the book publisher has sent me. These are more or less optional. They could be helpful, I think, in reviewing for quizzes, but there's nothing in there that you won't get from the readings, unlike my lectures or my slides. Basically, what I've tried to do with this course is give you a content-rich environment without trying to overwhelm you. This is only an introductory course after all. There's only so much that I can do, and there's so much more that I wish I had time to share with you. But like I said, this is an introductory course. It's 4.5 weeks. I think you're already going to find that there's plenty to do with what you have. But that doesn't mean that by taking this course you'll have learned everything, and that's the important thing that you're going to learn with this course. In college, there's always more to learn. There's never a case where you stop learning. I don't stop learning. And so from that point of view, I think it's important to note that this course is not the universe of the study of American politics. I think this course omits quite a lot. I think it does a good job, but I think it also is only a snapshot of all that you could learn. So if you're interested in this stuff, please don't think that this is all there is. So where do we go from here? Well, first, before you do anything else, please take the civics pre-test, which helps me know the base level of knowledge you're coming to the class with. It's not a graded test, but it is required, and indeed, taking it is what releases all the rest of the content of the class to you. So it's meant to be the first thing you do before you have contact with any of the readings, any of the slides, or anything else. Then I would like you to please read the syllabus. And once you're done with the syllabus, please have a look at the various grading documents that are in the syllabus and course materials section of the content part of the class on D2L. These tell you how you're going to be assessed in the class. They tell you how to get the grade that you want. They try to be very specific about what's required so that there are no surprises grade-wise in the class. There's nothing more frustrating, I find, when professors grade you, but you don't really know how they're assessing your performance, and so then it becomes very difficult to know when it is that you're demonstrating adequate work. From there, you could take the syllabus quiz, which is really a gimme of a quiz. It's only about 20 questions. There's no reason why you shouldn't be able to get it on the first or second try. But please take that, because that lets me know that you have read the syllabus and the materials. And then you can, if you like, go introduce yourself to your fellow students in the discussion forums and really start the class in earnest with the unit called Introducing Government. You can pretty much browse everything in the course once you take the civics pretest. I'm not releasing material sequentially week after week. Things don't open up on Monday and close on Friday. Things are basically open all the time for you to do. The syllabus sets up a schedule for you, but if you don't want to do that schedule, or if you have things going on in your life, if you're working, if there's, you can work pretty much at your leisure as long as you do all the work. By the end of the semester, I'm pretty happy. Now, if once you've taken a look at all these documents, you have any questions for me, please do not hesitate to contact me. I'm really more than happy to help you out in any way I can. And in college, as a rule, your professors are your resources. And if you don't use them, it's a little like wasting your money. Anyway, I hope you enjoy this class. I hope you learn a lot this semester. Democracy, at the end of the day, doesn't work very well without informed and educated citizens. And I hope that this class plays a part in helping you make democracy work.